Hey, welcome to Vero Beach, Florida. It's a pretty hot one today. This is Agree to Disagree. I'm Peyton, my boy Sal right now behind the camera. Look pretty fit, man. You must be out here all the time.
Yeah.
Check it, ladies. Look at the pecs. Hell yeah. Lots of views on that.
So what are you guys doing this for?
We have no agenda. It's just a YouTube channel to ask people what their opinions are.
Okay.
So, what do you think about Black Lives Matter?
I think it's this part of this larger collective change. It's kind of an outlet for. I think we all feel kind of repressed in a way, and it gets channeled into Black Lives Matter, like, because I think we're all kind of repressed, but with
Like oppress?
I think just the paradigm as a whole is oppressive, just like materialism, and like it's something to rally around because it's like more salient, it's more at the surface.
I mean, I think the actual thing of Black Lives Matter, obviously Black Lives Matter, but in terms of this overwhelming change, there's some things that need to be changed for sure, but other things that, you know, if you change that, then it's going to lead to other things that are bad.
What about Confederate statues? What is your take on those being removed or not, or whatever?
Yeah, I think it's probably a good idea for them to be removed just because those people did believe in systemic racism and slavery being a good thing. And I just believe that, like, we're at a point where we should not be celebrating the differences that once existed in our country. We need to be uniting around the things that we have in common. And so, you know, I completely get learning the history of the Confederacy, learning the history of the South. It's really important to know the history, but should it be celebrated? Probably not.
What are your thoughts on Confederate symbols?
I think Confederate symbols are wrong. You have the Confederate flag. I can see it both ways. You have a black person could see the Confederate flag and be like, that flag was what flown by people who wanted to enslave my ancestors, and that's completely right for them to want to not see that anymore. You have other Southerners who feel that, you know, that's something that's a heritage thing, which, yes, I guess you could say it is, but is it something you should necessarily be flying? No, I don't think it is.
What do you think about Confederate statues and whether they should be taken down or removed?
I'll tell you, that is a thing that I feel that is our heritage. What happened in our country way back in the early Confederate times, and, you know, this is just they're tearing down the ideas that what we can build our country on.
What do you think about Confederate statues? Should they be taken down?
I haven't put much thought into that, but yeah, it's a touchy subject. I think there's an argument for that. Yeah.
This is a little far for me to pick up your sound. Would this be okay?
Yeah,
okay, I'll reach it out to you in a minute. Now, we have an election coming up in November. Your husband said he had not even heard about it, but I'm kidding. But he said you're upset with him for maybe writing in a candidate. What about yourself? Who do you think you may vote for?
Oh, it's not a maybe. I'm going to vote for Joe Biden, and or whoever the Democratic candidate will be. I'm assuming it'll be Joe Biden, but there's absolutely no way I would support Donald Trump.
I'm a Trumper 100%.
And what do you love about Trump?
Because he's honest and he's being picked on. I think he's doing a wonderful job.
I think Republicans need to speak out more against what he's doing, and there are so many ways that I could say he's messing things up right now. It's not just Black Lives Matter.
Could you give me one or two?
Yeah, environmental issues. I have it all over my head. Climate change that he ignores. Immigration is the DACA. Opposing that, building a wall, which is ridiculous because we already have methods of dealing with illegal immigration. So,
come on, man, who you for?
Dude, I'm so torn. I am so torn, dude. I don't. There's one dude who can't stay awake and another one who can't shut up, man. It's like, I don't know. I'm pretty torn. I might just write myself in.
Do you have an idea who you may be voting for?
Not Biden.
I'm a Trumper 100%.
Does that mean possibly no voting for you this year, or?
I mean, I'm leaning probably towards the Republican Party, just as in a whole. But I could maybe, if there was like a strong libertarian candidate to come out, maybe then, but I'm not sure.
Are you going to be voting in November?
Probably not. No.
Why not?
I think a lot of people, I'm just kind of think it's two sides of the same coin.
The same coin being the corporate capitalist paradigm.
Right, that's one way to think of it. But I think it's just all just an evolving consciousness thing. But it's purposely polarizing because they're just two interacting poles and they're just going at each other. But they both don't know what they're doing. So they're both running like a simulation and they don't know it. So
I'm a Trumper 100%.
And what do you love about Trump?
Because he's honest and he's being picked on. I think he's doing a wonderful job.
And what's his greatest achievement in your mind?
Well, he has too many achievements. I can't pick one out.
You're fun, so I'm trying to think of more things to ask you. November, do you know who you may be voting for?
I have no clue. Honestly, I just want to vote independent because George Washington said at the end of his presidency, we need to guard against a two-party system because a two-party system will separate our country and tear it apart. And I really dislike the two-party system. But unfortunately, it's so ingrained in our country that you need to just accept it. And so I don't know who I'm going to vote for. I think they're both pretty bad candidates.
And what do you not like about Biden, or what's your general sense that you don't like?
So about Biden, I've just seen him a lot, and it really seems like he is not fully functioning mentally. And that is really worrying because if you're in charge of our country, I really, really want you to be all there. So that's my worry with him. And also, I think it's super interesting. I'm an independent myself, but I have a lot of friends who are really staunch Democrats, like leaning towards socialist, and they don't like Biden because they're like, oh, like Biden is too moderate and all of this stuff.
Right. And I have to mention the other guy. What are your thoughts about him currently? Why not just go vote for him if you don't like Biden?
The hard thing about Donald Trump is that, he's super racist. He's not very good at communicating. And it's just really hard. I mean, I don't think he's done a terrible job. If you take away his persona and you just look at what he's done in the government, I don't think he's done a horrible job. It's just kind of like picking the lesser of two evils. It's really hard.
What do you think about Black Lives Matter?
I feel like Black Lives Matter.
Black lives do matter, and it matters the same like everyone else. A lot of bad things have been happening, a lot of sad things.
But should we do anything about it to maybe help them feel less subjugated, or are you just neutral on it?
No, I'm not neutral. I think we need radical law enforcement reform.
Define radical.
Well, there's that whole defund the police going on. I think we should put more money into it. I think they need to be educated.
What do you think about the Black Lives Matter movement that's sort of sweeping the nation right now?
I'm really sorry I don't have my pen on right now. I am totally in favor and support of Black Lives Matter movement.
And what type of actions would you like to see from local, state, or federal government? Anything in particular you'd like to see done to help prove that Black lives do in fact matter?
Well, I'd certainly like for policing to change the way that they do things, approach things from more of a social services type approach and not go in with guns blasting, but have people that have training in a psychological approach to maybe people that have drug issues or depression and that sort of thing.
Do you think black people are worse off than white people in America, or do you think we're all equally oppressed?
They're worse off here right now, but in the cosmic sense, I don't know, it just depends what your perspective is. But yeah, definitely here right now.
Have you recently taken any drugs?
No, it's a spiritual thing, I guess.
Do you have a certain religion maybe, or?
No, I just think it's existence. I think religion's just kind of a stepping stone to existing. Because the oppression thing is just the mind control materialism keeping us focused on the things they want us focused on.
What would you like to see changed?
I think it has to start at the most fundamental level, which is the paradigm of consciousness.
What do you think about Black Lives Matter as a movement?
As a movement, I think it's super important because there's a lot of systemic racism in the United States, especially in our police force and just in government systems in general. And if you look at Planned Parenthood targets a lot of Black people too, and there's just an increased rate of abortions among them, which is super sad. And so I think that Black Lives Matter as a whole is just super important.
You know, I stand in solidarity with them. Now, some groups of Black Lives Matter, they make it look bad for the rest of them. So then people respond with the, you know, all lives matter, police lives matter. But honestly, that's just a small portion of what Black Lives Matter really is about. They're just trying to come up to where we are. When we're saying all lives matter, then we're trying to stay above them. You know what I mean? It don't make any sense.
Yeah.
These guys are our brothers. You know what I mean? There's no reason, you know, that these brothers and sisters got to stay the underdog. So I support it.
Do you think that there's a such thing as white privilege?
I mean, do I think I have an advantage being white in certain things? No. I think our privilege comes in with our family and how our family support is. I feel that I've known a lot of people, and the people I've known that were successful were the ones who had the stronger family support, a strong mother and father background or whatever, who were able to help them through life and get them started.
There is a white privilege, and what I mean by that is, you know, a Black female couldn't go into a car dealership with her kids and be taken as seriously as like a white male or a white female. They won't be taken as seriously, and that's systemic. You know, it's across the board.
What do you think about the United States response to the pandemic?
I think it's been absolutely terrible. It's no leadership, no policy. It's sort of like everybody do whatever they want to do. And we started out with Fauci and other health officials speaking out more vehemently in the beginning. I mean, we waited kind of late anyway, but they were able to kind of tamp things down. And since they've opened everything back up, now it's...
Do you know anybody that's had COVID?
Yes, I do.
Are they okay, hopefully?
Yeah, they're okay. They're fine. They went up to Gainesville to go be with their friends and party and got COVID that way. And then this is actually something, so I saw them a little bit ago, and they didn't tell me that they had COVID, so I had to go get a COVID test, and that was just kind of annoying.
You're good?
Yeah,
Are you good?
I'm good, I'm fine.
All right.
I didn't get it.
I actually know one person who had it and died from it. I don't know anybody else who's had it.
I'm sorry to hear that, man. Do you know anybody that's had COVID?
No, I mean, I know a bunch of people who said they had COVID, like they got sick around that time, but no one who was like tested positive for COVID. Everyone was just kind of like, if they got sick around that time, they're like, I had COVID. This is kind of how I feel. And I mean, there certainly are people who have it, but I'm not sure.
Do you have any thoughts on how the United States has handled the pandemic and the response?
I think it's a bit of a tricky situation. They need, when we first locked down, I think it was necessary, just kind of quell the unrest that was brewing about it. But now I feel like we're getting more and more research about it and everything, and maybe preventive costs like face masks in closed areas would be a good thing. But in terms of locking everything down and hurting the economy more, I don't think it's a good idea.
All right. Appreciate you, man.
No
That was some good answers, dude.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, man.
Yeah, man.
Thank you. Thanks, man.
Thank you so much.
I think we all have the same opportunities. We can make a living over here. We can actually go and work hard, buy a house, buy a car, things that we need. I know it's a lot harder in our country, so this is the land of opportunities.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Appreciate it.
Everything's getting out of whack.
Thank you for
You young people can straighten it all out for us.
Thank you for your time.
You're welcome.
Yeah, it's a touchy subject. I think there's an argument for that.
Appreciate your time, man. Thanks. Awesome, dude.
I got a couple boys up there that they're not boys anymore, they're men. I'm going back home for a couple weeks and then I'll come back down here.
Thanks, guys.
I'm a Trumper 100%.